Okay, so welcome everyone to today's webinar about engaging. We're going to be talking about engaging with non-technical audiences, and we're really happy about this webinar because we do have a lot of interesting speakers from hydrogen or energy related projects, and so we're going to be sharing best practices for energy communication based on our own experiences in our projects. So the agenda for today will be this. Of course, we're right now in the welcome and introductions section. I'm gonna do a brief introduction to the HYPOP project. It's gonna be super short, and then we're gonna have Alberto from the Clean Hydrogen Partnership talk about the partnership, and then we're gonna dive into exactly what we're going to be focusing today, which is a showcase of practical examples from energy-related projects. So we're going to talk about HYPOP, of course. We do have HyCare, Mission H24, HyTruck, and CEFMO. And then the most important part for us, is, at least, is the Q&A section and the open discussion. So we hope that you have a bunch of questions that we could discuss at the end. If you have any questions, please do start putting them in the chat, and then we can start organizing them and making sure that we address all of them at the end. Just to make this a little bit more straightforward, we're gonna do all the presentations at once, and then we're gonna keep the questions until the end, okay? So today's speakers, you will see that we have a diverse pool of speakers today, and I'm gonna let them introduce themselves when the time comes. But you will see here that we have from the HYPOP project, Alberto, Erika from HyCare, Carol from Mission H24, Marcus and Oleg from HyTruck, and Esa from CEFMO. Perfect. Okay. So I'm going to start talking about the HYPOP project because we're the ones organizing this webinar. And just so you know, we are a Horizon Europe project funded by the European Union and supported by the Clean Hydrogen Partnership and its members. So this project, of course, is a team effort. We have 8 partners working together from 6 different EU member states. And our main goal is to help people understand and trust hydrogen technology. So it's all about sharing the benefits and giving both citizens and stakeholders the information they need to feel confident about this clean energy option. And so, as I was saying, HYPOP is all about getting citizens and stakeholders directly involved in shaping and using hydrogen technologies. And how do we do that? Well, we're creating practical, easy to follow guidelines and sharing best practices that show how everyone can contribute to this energy shift. And the guidelines that we're working on focus on key groups like everyday citizens, first responders, permitting authorities, and certification bodies as well. And we want to make sure that they have the knowledge and the tools to help hydrogen technologies succeed. So, and one of the ways that we're doing that is that we are highlighting real-world hydrogen projects, showing how it's already being used in public spaces, transportation, and industries. If you want to check out our website, we recently launched a showcase of projects related to hydrogen all around the world. So it's a catalog of projects that you can see that are currently going on in different parts, in different countries, not just Europe. So, and we are trying to help tackle one of the biggest challenges that we have, that is the lack of clear examples for authorities to approve safety and permissions. So to make things easier, we're, as I was saying, creating guidelines, and we're also trying to showcase other projects. So that's HYPOP in a general, super brief overview. If you want to learn more about the project, we invite you to check out our website and follow us on social media as well. So I'm gonna pass the torch to Alberto from the Clean Hydrogen Partnership, so he can talk a little bit more about this initiative.
Hi, good afternoon from Brussels, Daniela. Thank you very much. I guess that you can hear me.
Yes, perfectly
Very good.
fine.
Very good. Thank you very much for having us today, and congratulations on the organization of this webinar. Um, my name is Alberto Garcia. I'm the project officer of HYPOP project within the Clean Hydrogen Partnership or Clean Hydrogen EU. And in the next few minutes, I will not take much time. I would like to just introduce briefly who we are and what we do and why we are supporting this type of projects like the HYPO project. No, in that sense, for those who are not familiar with the partnership or the clean hydrogen joint undertaking, just allow me to start by saying that we are a institution of the European Union in the form of a PPP, a public-private partnership. The partnership is composed on one hand by the European Union, represented by the European Commission, and on the other hand, on the private side, by Hydrogen Europe and Hydrogen Europe Research, representing the industrial and research groupings working on hydrogen fuel cells in Europe. No? And what we do is to implement a research and innovation program on hydrogen technologies, hydrogen fuel cell technologies. And to do so, we have allocated within the Horizon Europe Research and Innovation Framework Program, which is the main framework program of the European Union. We have been allocated 1 billion euros. And yeah, we are supporting research and innovation activities along the entire hydrogen chain, covering all the links of the chain, meaning from production to distribution and storage, and also the end uses, like in transport or applications. Those activities, which are, let's say, pure research or technology driven, let's say, are complemented by a set of different activities that we carried out in four additional horizontal activities. One is the cross-cutting issues. HYPOP project belongs to that cluster of projects, but also we are supporting activities on hydrogen valleys, supply chain, and some aspects on strategic research challenges. No? In cross-cutting, we're trying to address all the challenges that these technologies still have, which are systemic or let's say, of horizontal nature. No? And in that sense, we have three lines of activities. The first line is on safety, pneumatic research, and regulation codes and standards in order to make sure that there is enabling and suitable regulatory framework for the technologies. The second aspects are related with education and public awareness, and here is where HYPOP falls in. And indeed, we have grouped education and public awareness because both, I think we can agree that both are meant to increase the trust and the knowledge on these technologies, and let's say fight back against the fear to the unknown. No? I think there are a lot of good a lot of benefits that the technologies could bring to our society, but this must be communicated, this must be disseminated. And that's why we are supporting this type of project like HYPOP. We have great expectations, and I'm very happy to see so many people in the webinar connected. So, and the last set of activities that we have within cross-cutting are related with sustainability and circularity. Of course, we have to pay attention that the technologies work well, they have long lifetime, and their cost effectiveness, but also we have to pay attention that they are sustainable and circular, no? In order to contribute to the climate and yes, all the goals of the policies of the European Union. I will not take much time. I would like just to thank again the organizers for having us. And I would like to encourage you to take the most of the webinar, make it interactive, ask the experts. It's a great opportunity to ask to the project partners different aspects on the technologies or within the activities of the project. So good luck for the webinar. Thank you again. And I will be connected in case there is any question. Thank you.
Thank you, Alberto. And yeah, just as you say, I think, well, I wouldn't say that it's a rare thing to have so many projects together in one webinar, but maybe it is. So for all of those of you attending the webinar, please do ask any questions that you might have. We're here to get to know what we're doing, what it's working, what it's not working, to make everything related to energy communications better in the future. So thank you, Alberto. That was a Clean Hydrogen Partnership. We also invite you to check out their website. And yeah, so let's continue. I'm going to pass the torch now to Dr. Fanny van Ruyen, who is going to be talking about the HYPOP project.
Hi everyone, I'm very glad to be here and excited for the talks to come. I'm just quickly going to talk about the co-creation public engagement workshops that HYPOP has been doing from November last year to March to this month. So we have conducted 6 online co-creation workshops titled Hydrogen Technologies Exploring Facts, Myths and Future Perspectives, hosted in the 6 partner countries. The first one was in Ireland, or it's online, but we have a national focus so that we can speak to the projects in each country. So the first one was Ireland, which was supposed to be like a template for the next ones to follow. And the last one in Poland is actually also today. So we are finalizing these workshops today. You can, next slide. So the structure of the workshops were to provide a basic technical understanding of hydrogen energy technologies, to provide objective evaluation of the critical issues and doubts over things like cost and safety and environmental concerns. And then, like I said, to highlight national strategies and hydrogen projects for which we provided fact sheets for every country. So, for instance, in Ireland, we focused on the Galway hydrogen port, or the Galway port hydrogen hub that's being developed, and the Green Atlantic at Moneypoint project also. So then we also had co-creation activities in breakout groups, 2 of those. The first one focused on brainstorming the hopes and concerns for hydrogen energy in Europe. And the second one was the group had to compile a newspaper article on what they felt about the future of hydrogen in Europe. So for instance, one of the examples was for hydrogen race cars. And we will be talking a bit more about that later when Carol speaks. Then some of the tips we learned from these workshops were to do adequate research when you're doing public engagement in order to answer basic technical questions. So for instance, people who are in communication, like many of us, are not necessarily hydrogen experts. So you have to kind of do the research beforehand, like Danny handled the first one in Ireland, and she had to learn how to talk about a hydrogen fuel cell and what does that entail. And it's very important to know that, because if you don't understand it, you're not going to make anyone else understand. And then it's important also to involve local experts. So we approached experts from the hydrogen projects in Ireland. And we also approached politicians, in local government, people in policy, people who are already working with the stuff and can relate to it better and speak to it directly. And then it's important to anticipate difficult but predictable and expected questions. Like, for instance, the public will always ask about the comparison between hydrogen and electricity. And then you have to be armed with facts and be frank and be able to say that, yes, in most cases, or for instance, with electric vehicles, electricity makes more sense for vehicles. But in other cases, hydrogen makes more sense for various reasons, and you have to know those facts. So it's important to be honest, clear, and transparent. A very good example is the champagne analogy that we use for hydrogen. So saying hydrogen is like champagne. It's expensive at the moment. It is not for every day, but it's perfect for special occasions. And it's a very useful analogy to use, and it's true. So for instance, for long haul transport and for trains and for various other applications, hydrogen makes more sense than electricity, and you need to know these things and how to communicate them. And then it's very important to encourage participant engagement. So most people, if they go into a webinar, they're happy to just sit back and listen and turn the camera off. But that doesn't encourage people talking to each other. And it's important for not just to know the speakers, but to know who is in the audience and what are their background and what do they actually know about hydrogen. And for that reason, we did in the registration, we did a survey to kind of get a baseline of what is the understanding of the audience for that day. And that helps a lot in order to know who are you talking to. So introductions are important.
Thank you, Fonny. And I would just like to add, because of course we were the ones who organized these co-creation workshops, that we developed a pretty comprehensive communication strategy beforehand. So we tried to identify the different target audiences that we would be trying to approach for this co-creation workshops. And we did a lot of research on that. And Fanny mentioned something that it's not on the slides, but I think it's very important that it's all about also evaluating the impact of your activity. So it's not just about going with your gut instinct about, oh yeah, I think this will work. Yeah, I think people understood what I was talking about, you know? So what we did is that we had a really structured way of evaluating this. So before the workshop, we asked people to register, of course, and in that registration form, we asked about their perceptions about hydrogen, what they knew about the projects in their own countries, some facts and myths around hydrogen, and then we asked the same questions after the workshops to see if those perceptions have had shifted. So it's a way for us to know also if what we were doing was working, if we needed to improve something or to adjust maybe an activity. As Fanny was saying, we were the pilot co-creation workshop in Ireland. So all the things that we learned in that first workshop, we of course communicated with to the partners. So today's for example is Poland's workshop. So we provided them with the insights and hey, you can do this or you can say this or people will probably ask you this. So just make sure that you have all the information you need. So it's all about also preparing yourself, evaluating, and the final tip that I have for you is also to be sharing what is working and what is not working among your partners and also with other people in other projects like what we're doing today, because in the end, this webinar is also part of our public engagement strategy. It's not all about keeping all that we know in our project, but also communicating and disseminating as we can, so we can make communication better in the future. So yeah, that's HYPOP, and please go ahead and ask any questions. I will be checking the chat. So next we have Erika from from Italy, and I will give the microphone to you now.
Thank you very much, Daniela, for introducing. Yeah, my name is Erika Michela De Matteis. I'm a researcher at the University of Turin, and I have been involved in the HYCare project in the past few years as a postdoc, but of course I was also quite engaged in the public engagement. Actually, right now I'm also part of the Public Engagement Commission of my department, so I mean, this topic is really like something that I care about. And I still keep on disseminating and communicating hydrogen-related technology throughout all the new projects that are upcoming, and I will also thanks in the last slide. So with this presentation, what I want to say to you, I try to make a list, as you see in the second slide, of some example of activities that you can either perform online or offline. And my main focus was basically to speak with schools or citizens during open days or during some festival, science festival. So in this first slide, I basically just list what was the prerequisite. So what I needed to develop this kind of activity and what I learned from doing that. So I also have some tips. Some of them actually were already mentioned. So I will go through just the list to read them together, but then I will also share in the next slide some example of real slide I use in schools or also during my presentation. So basically what was needed, as you introduced, is already to have some improv or communicational skill. So you need to train yourself to speak fluently, to speak with the people in many languages, maybe English, but also like Italian or your own language in your country. You need to adapt fast and communicate clear and simple terms, the technology you are sharing. And of course, you need to know your subject. So you need to know the news, make some example, know some numbers, because people will ask. You need to, we say in Italian, know your chicken. So you need to know the audience you are looking at and try also to play with them. Play is a verb that I want to use and I want to underline, because many times people are learning through playing. So when you're just discussing, of course, you can give some information, but when you are playing, actually people can really learn through an experience. So that's why we use some educational kit that I will show you later on, and we let them play with hands-on experiments. And as you said, also at the end of the experience, we provide some form for feedback in order to understand what they, if we performed well, the terminology was clear, all the examples were like acquired. And finally, of course, while you're building up your presentation, you can exploit media resources, so picture, video. You can also like record your real life in the lab in order to showcase the project prototype or what is happening behind the scene. And finally, also try to provide some online or book references so that people, once they go home, they can maybe learn a bit more on the technology. And finally, the tips I listed here is that, of course, you need to engage the audience, make questions, ask for validation. So, not just to try to do your own speech, but try to just throw the ball and give it back to play with them and also discuss. Try to ask validation also if they do know some terms. Otherwise, you need to explain them. And you can expand, of course, the speech. You can make example. You can relate to ordinary life or real life. You can use meme, maybe with like young students or, it really depends on the audience you have. But if you know the people, you can maybe play with some references with cinema or, with different approaches. Of course, what I also really care about is to share the chemistry. So even if it's sometimes quite hard, it's good to also give some hints also to the youngest one of what chemistry can do to develop new technology, such as hydrogen-related or energy-related one. And finally, you can also suggest some homework or some experiments they can actually play with at home. Okay, let's see some example in the next slide. So this is just one of the first presentation I did in the frame of the HYPOP project. It was COVID time. So basically, we were playing with the school online, but as you see, we were buying this educational kit. So it's from a Fisher technique. We could build up while connected online this hydrogen car, refill it, and then produce hydrogen or use it to move the car. And we were basically, by moving the camera, getting to know to the people what the technology is about. What we also play with the kids, and you see in the picture on the right, is that they were actually playing in the school or at home to produce hydrogen using really simple equipment. So in the next slide, I also want to share with you how actually you can use these educational tools. So you can either produce some video to make them visualize how it works. You should be creative and combine different technology. And also when you are like showcasing, you can try to build up new scenario with them. Ask for feedback and also try to think about possible project that high school students can keep on doing. We are also using sometimes poster because we can collect many images and information, and then we can also speak with the people to show all of them. So if you move on, we should see one example of video. So like this was a really recent festival we participated in, where basically you can visualize that the bubbles up there are oxygen evolving, and then the hydrogen is getting into the car and filling the balloon. And then in the next video just close by, we were also playing with this kit. So it's the next one, yeah, up there. And we modified them. So actually we were using here like a fuel cell to produce hydrogen, but then to just move a fan and to show them that actually you can use hydrogen for mobile application, but also for stationary one. And this was actually done like together with them at the festival. In the next slide, I will really go fast because time is running, but in the next slide, I just want to show some example of which kind of slide I presented in some schools. So you see, they are in Italian. This is done on purpose because, of course, when you need to speak with the local people, you need to use their own languages. But if you move on, you click once in the slide, you can also see that sometimes the gift or the animated video we have are available just in English. So this is okay to use like multiple languages, but you should always explain each term. So please pay attention to the language and try to translate and clarify the content of what you are showing. And as you see here, I use some animated GIF, but I also put some chemistry with some reaction up there that, of course, you can either discuss, or you can just leave it there for later on. In the next slide, there's other example of what you can actually propose to be done at home. So this is just some picture. You can take a glass of water, you can take a battery of 9 volts, and then by producing some kind of electrode, you can produce some bubbles of oxygen and hydrogen, and they can visualize the electrolysis process at home. So this is an example of experiment that can be performed. In the next slide, then, again, we created in the iCare project a gift to visualize the concept of the prototype, which is not so easy to be moved around because it was a 40 kilos container to store hydrogen in the solid state in metal alloy. But this also with some link, an iCare video, a brochure, and other materials can also help the people to deep a bit more in the technology and the project we were running around. In the next slide, we also, once the project was progressing, we were showing to the people also that with some picture that the project was real. So if you move on with the click, you can also visualize the tank where the alloy and the storage of hydrogen was performed, and also the combination of the thermal management system in the bottom right. So again, this to use picture and gift and everything to let people see what's behind the scene makes people understand that science, it's also real, it's not just like basic research. Next slide again is another example how I use some video. So if you click there, you can see also the synthesis of the material. And I tried with some playing with picture, with a cartoon and so on to discuss with the people what means to do some metallurgy, do some synthesis in order to develop materials for hydrogen storage. Next slide, finally, we are almost at the end. Explaining the technology we were using, so solid state hydride for solid state hydrogen storage was not so easy to be performed like in an open science festival. But for example, in the lab, we were able to record this video that you have just seen. And then by using some picture that I found in the internet, I could also explain how actually hydrogen gas can enter into the structure and can be stored in this kind of material. So again, this is the behind the scene of at the lab scale, but I tried to find some video and some other explanation to make people visualize what we were actually working on. In the next slide, I think should be almost the last one. Yeah, okay. I always actually conclude with this slide in my presentation, because what I also want to show is not just the science behind and what we are doing in the lab, but also that we do care about environment. We do care about economy and society. So we are also trying to connect like the equal energy transition also with some the caring about environmental impact. So if you try to reflect also in the frame of your project on this kind of aspects, so just not science or developing technology, usually people really appreciate. And you can also start the kind of debate or start like speaking about what they think about this technology, because maybe people are not so fan of using hydrogen car. And so do we really have to plan this in our project, or we should focus on other application? This is also a nice feedback to have. And then to conclude, I just want to acknowledge, of course, in the last, well, there was also the feedback form. So we just use a normal Google form to collect all the information and feedback about our activities. And yeah, finally, I can conclude. I was a bit over time, but I hope it's still in the schedule. I want to acknowledge the HYPOP project. It was the first one that I work on public engagement, but then we will continue this activity in the frame of Remedies project that just started. And we are also doing this in the National Center of the PRRN MOST. And thank you for the attention.
Thank you, Erika. And no worries, it was, yeah, you were right on time. Thank you. Perfect. So next on is Carol. I'm gonna be sharing, well, we're gonna be sharing a video in the next couple of slides. So once that time comes, I will just double check with everyone if you can hear the audio of the video. But anyway, Carol, please, welcome.
Thank you so much. I'm very happy to meet you with this webinar. So I am Carole Capitaine. I am working for ACO. I am in charge of H2 hydrogen communication. ACO means Automobile Club de l'Ouest. It's motorsports. It's the organizer of the 24 Hours of Le Mans. So maybe you can ask the link between motorsport and hydrogen, and I can explain to you this link. Maybe you can go to the next slide. The 24 Hours of Le Mans, it's a very old and famous race. It was created in 1923. And the goal at the beginning for this race is to use a car with safety, because you can imagine in 1923, it was an experience to drive a car without accident or maybe without a problem or issue on your car. So step by step and year after year, the goal for this race, of course, it's passion for car. It's adrenaline, it's competition, but the manufacturer engaged in this race have already a goal, technical goal, and financial goal. They would like on this race, because the race is 24 hours, day and night, sun and rain. So it's an extreme laboratory for the manufacturers. They can test, judge, evaluate it, and maybe validate some new technology. Year by year, as I told you, they can test safety, some progress in terms of comfortable, of driving of the car, of the consumption, maybe less consumption of energy. And now the goal for the manufacturer is use car with safety, with speed, but also with zero emission. You know the situation in Europe in 2035, you can't buy some new car with ICE. So it means the manufacturer has to find a new solution, new energy. With ACO, we are in link, of course, with the manufacturer, and the solution for Le Mans, it's hydrogen. At the beginning of the program, of the communication and the program, we are very clear. We don't want to opposite the energy. For endurance, hydrogen is the solution, because we need a car with autonomy, with potential, and with very short refueling. With electricity, you can't have this scenario. But it's very clear, we don't want to say hydrogen is the solution, is one of the solutions for new energy and for sustainable mobility. So maybe we can do to the next slide. So in Le Mans, we are lucky because we have 3 types of population. We have automotive, motorsport world. We have media, journalists, TV, radio, and we have also visitor, spectator. So we can feel the feedback of these 3 populations about welcome or not of hydrogen. So it's important to feel this feedback. We create in 2018 the program. The name is Mission H24. You can understand H24 because H24 Hours of Le Mans, and H2 for hydrogen. And it's a mission because we would like to reach sustainable mobility. We know the goal, but we don't know the road, because it's totally a pioneer program. We start from scratch. We don't know hydrogen. We have no knowledge about hydrogen in motor racing. So we have to create all the environment of hydrogen in motorsport. It means using and produce hydrogen, green hydrogen, of course, the safety, the potential of the car, and the structure for refueling with hydrogen, because you can imagine there is no H2 station on track in the world. So we have to create from scratch to welcome some hydrogen car in Le Mans and in the World Championship of Endurance. The goal is to have a new category in 2028 with H2 prototype, and this prototype will fight with a normal car. When I say normal car, it means ICE with petrol car, and they can compete for the victory from 1998. So you can imagine it's a big challenge because no car, no station. So we create this program, Mission H24. It's a laboratory. We start in 2018. You can imagine the feedback of the people when we explain, yes, we will arrive with the H2 car. People have some history or negative image about hydrogen because it's a gas, it's dangerous, it's explosive. So what can we do when we have this context? So we start in Spa in September 2018 with a demo with the car to explain the potential, and we would like also to show pit refueling. It means the car stop in the pit lane and we do a refueling with hydrogen, with a lot of people around the car, visitor, media. I believe they expect to see a mechanic with a cosmonaut suite. Our mechanics is arriving with a little t-shirt and shirt and do the refueling to explain when you know the safety rules with hydrogen, you can do a normal refueling kit. So it's just an example we would like to destroy the negative vision of hydrogen in France particularly. I know maybe in Europe it's the same situation, but at this moment it was very difficult to explain to the people, yes, we are confident, we know we can use this car and we can be competitive in the future. So maybe we can go to the next slide. And from the beginning, for communication, because we are lucky because we can use communication with motorsport on track. But the goal is also to share our program with school, with politics, and with a lot of institutions. I believe I am working in motorsport since 30 years. It's the first time I discover a program with a lot of interest from fans of motor racing and no fan. A lot of people come and have some question and are very interested by new technology and sustainable technology, and particularly the young people. We did a lot of events on track and not on track and not linked with motor racing. And we have a lot of questions from young people about job in sustainable mobility, not in motor racing, but in sustainable mobility. We can feel there is a lot of interest for this topic. Since the beginning, to communicate about hydrogen, we know we have to be serious, because if you have an accident, the first accident with hydrogen, there is not a second accident. It's not possible. So we have to be serious. So we have 4 pillars. We would like to use and to be transparency, realist, curious, and safety. Transparency, it means we are not greener than green. We would like to participate to the evolution for sustainable mobility. But we are not like we know all the things about new technology and hydrogen is the solution and that's all. No. And we know we start from the beginning. And of course, we meet some issue. It's normal in this level of challenge. As I say, we know the goal, but we don't know the road. And it's the reason we need the name mission, because we use a lot of steps to reach the goal in 2028. We start with, for example, if I can give you an example, we start in 2018 with a car using hydrogen gas and with fuel cell. Now, 6 years or 7 years after that, we welcome two technologies, fuel cell and ICE, with hydrogen and liquid hydrogen. So, you can see the evolution of the knowledge. And we would like to share and to be transparent with the public. We have to discover hydrogen. So it's very clear for us. We have to discover. Realism, because you have to create everything, especially in terms of safety. So we are in link with a fireman, French fireman, Japanese fireman, and we are in collaboration with the French School of Firemen in France, expert in hydrogen, because we have to create the safety condition. You have to be curious because it's a new technology. And for example, we are in collaboration, we have a new collaboration with Ariane, because they know hydrogen from maybe 60 years or something like that. And safety, of course, because it's the first pillar of communication. Maybe we can see the video so you can see which kind of event we use to communicate in motor racing and not in motor racing.
Okay, I just want to make a test and you let me know if you can hear the audio of the video, okay?
So as you can see, we have our program, Mission H24, and we have also the interest of manufacture in hydrogen, because in 2028, the goal is to have some car from manufacturer. So we have a working group with a lot of manufacturer from America, from Europe, and from Asian country. And we know it's very short. If you see the history of the motor racing, we start in 1973, and we have only 10 years to start with hydrogen and to have some car in motor racing. So in this year, we will have H2 Village in Le Mans. Two topics of this village, motor racing and mobility with H2, to show it's not fiction, it's a reality. We will show bike, motorbike, bus, car, boat, plane, rocket, to show to the people we can use hydrogen today. And I'm very agree with the University of Turin. You have to check the knowledge of the people. So we have a lot of game training about hydrogen. For example, we have a car, a little car, hydrogen car. We have some bike in a link with an electrolyzer to build hydrogen. And after the game in the car, we have like a driving license. And after a question and good answer, you can receive this driving license of H2 car. So if in motorsport you can't fly, you have the result or not. So it's a link between motorsport and hydrogen.
Thank you, Carol. That was a very interesting presentation. Okay. So let's go ahead, and now we are going to be talking about the HYPOP project. So we have Oleg and Marcus here. So I'm gonna pass the microphone to them now.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Perfect. Okay, thanks for having me. As you already said, Oleg and I are project partners in the HYPOP project, and we want to show some quick findings. But first, I want to introduce you to the HYPOP project. So on the next slide, you can see all the project partners involved in the HYPOP project. But what do we actually do in the project? As some of you know, the European Union passed the AFIR regulation, the Alternative Fuels in Infrastructure regulation. And it's also concerning hydrogen. So you have to build up every 200 kilometers, you have to build up a hydrogen refueling station. And what we want to achieve is that public authorities can play an active role in this ramp up of hydrogen refueling stations. So we want to close gaps between nations and on the TEN-T corridor. So we want to have as many hydrogen refueling stations as needed, but not too much, because otherwise it would be inefficient. And if you don't have enough refueling stations, then hydrogen mobility won't be possible. So this is what we do. We have a few partners. We have around 2.5 million euros of budget. And we prepare 2 solutions. We have 2 pilots. And I want to show, for this purpose of this presentation, I want to take a quick dive into Work Package 1 on the next slide. Work Package 1 is about preparing solutions. So we want to give a toolbox on how to build up hydrogen refueling stations. So we, for example, developing a spatial planning toolkit, which uses geo informations on where to place hydrogen refueling stations and what kind of coverage you can create with this. We do some economic environmental considerations for the ramp up of hydrogen refueling stations. So we give informations on what kind of difference does it make, for example, from where you get your hydrogen from? For example, if you import it from Chile, what kind of environmental or economic considerations you have to make? We have also a catalog of technical standards, and which focuses on what kind of standards you have to supply. You have to keep in mind when building up refueling stations. And the last point, which is about my presentation, because it's my work package duty in this project, is the guideline for planning hydrogen refueling stations. So what does the guideline actually do? It retraces the major findings of the HYPOP project. So it gives, for example, some introductions to all the other outputs of Work Package 1. So on how to use the spatial planning toolkit and how to integrate it in your planning process. It also focuses on the target group of public authorities, which are the main target group of the HYPOP project. So Work Package 1 in general is quite scientific and technological. But for public authorities, we have to break some of the knowledge down so it becomes more usable. We do this by providing knowledge on different developments and give insights on hydrogen topics, including, for example, hydrogen technology, on how to produce hydrogen, and the economic and ecological considerations, technical standards, permits and regulation, and how to network with other people and other partners on how to use your refueling stations. And how do we do this? On the next slide, you can see the process of the guideline development. So we, the Institute, Reine Le Mon Institute, developed the guideline, and we also have project partners on the work package 2, which are actually trying to use the guideline in their planning process. So it's about we create solutions in work package 1, and the work package 2 tries to use it and gives feedback. And this is my personal key takeaway for how to engage non-technical stakeholders or partners. You have to make sure what your target audience is. So, for example, in our case, it was public authorities. And especially, I am a researcher, so some people call me a hydrogen expert, but I don't think that public authorities need to get on the same knowledge level as I when planning the hydrogen refueling stations, but they have to be empowered enough to make good decisions and to feel comfortable enough to make these decisions. And this is what we're trying to do. And if you now think, hey, this hydrogen guideline seems quite interesting for us, on the next slide, you can see that the guideline is now available. So if you go to the HYPOP website via the QR code or the link, you can find the guideline there, and you can also see very nice outputs by all the other partners of Work Package 1, which will be available or is already available. So check it out. And more than that, we also have in Work Package 3, we are preparing some very nice information and, for example, a monthly breakfast meeting, which Oleg will introduce to you. But on the last slide, if you have any questions, you can reach out to me with my email or via LinkedIn. And I would thank you for your attention and give over to Oleg, who is giving you some information on the HYTRUC breakfast briefings.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Marcus. Good afternoon, and thank you for inviting me. This is Oleg Todorov from Click Innovation Finland, one of the 9 co-partners comprising the HYTRUC consortium. And I will share my insights in stakeholder engagement through HYTRUC breakfast briefings. Next slide, please. So as Marcus previously said, planning and deployment of transnational network of hydrogen refueling stations is a complex process with spatial, economic, environmental, and technological dimension, and consequently needing a multidisciplinary approach for engaging a wide spectrum of stakeholders. And as a response to this challenge, HYTRUC Breakfast Briefing was created as open forum for information exchange between stakeholders interested in hydrogen mobility among the Baltic countries. And our initial expectations were quickly exceeded, currently having over 200 subscribers, conducted 18 sessions, and reaching a critical stakeholder mass, which brings over 50 participants per session. Next slide. In this sense, our professional community agglutinates stakeholders from 20 countries. And in addition to HYTRUC member states, Germany, Poland, Lithuania, Latvia, Estonia, Finland, and Sweden, it also includes countries from whole Europe and beyond. Next slide. So far, 18 sessions have been conducted, inviting 40 speakers and discussing many different topics. And roughly half of the presentations were related to country-specific issues like national hydrogen projects, policy and legislation, or municipal governance. About a quarter of the presentations were dedicated to technology and research, like HRS safety regulations and compliance, or fueling protocols. And the rest were focused on hydrogen HRS related projects, or were related to HYTRUC issues. Next slide. The quadruple helix model is a key pillar of the breakfast briefing concept, It expands traditional collaboration frameworks, focusing on how public administration, companies, and academia can go hand in hand with society and community when challenging goals have to be accomplished. It also redefines innovation ecosystems by balancing economic growth with societal and environmental needs. Next slide. Based on the Quadruple Helix approach, HYPOP breakfast briefing subscribers and participants form a transnational stakeholder network, including, for example, infrastructure providers, private and public sector, national and local authorities, and academia and research institutions. And I have prepared some statistics about our meetings. For example, it can be observed that even though public authorities have less subscribers, they are much more active when it comes to participation in the meetings. Cyan and green colors on the charts. And the contrary occurs with companies and service providers in blue and orange. Additionally, stakeholders' engagement can be boosted through website publications, LinkedIn campaigns, and currently HYPOP has over 300 followers on LinkedIn. Also, HYPOP newsletter launched last year, or by direct promotion of breakfast briefing events. Next slide. And you can also be part of HYPOP dynamic community. You can follow us on LinkedIn or visit our website for more information and news. And on next slide. You're very welcome to join and participate in HYPOP breakfast briefings by registering in the following link or by scanning this QR code. So I invite you to join this interesting forum. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Marcus, and thank you, Oleg. Very interesting. So now we're gonna talk about CEFMOF, and we have Esa here. So welcome, Esa.
Thank you, Daniela. So good afternoon, everybody. I'm Esa Eerola from Central Finland Mobility Foundation here in Jyväskylä. And I will share with you how we are raising awareness and creating buzz around hydrogen here in Central Finland. Our foundation is not a partner or member in the HYPOP or HYTRUC, but somehow I found my way to this event, and I'm very happy about that. I think it's via the networking at many events during the past months. Briefly about our foundation. So we are called CEFMOF, or Central Finland Mobility Foundation. We are 1 year, 2 months old or young, and we have a very concrete mission: promote the green transition and the sustainable carbon neutral future and society. This mission enables us to do and support many activities, but during the past year and this year, we are focusing a lot on hydrogen. Next slide, please. Here's background just for information. What is this foundation all about? As said, we are a bit more than 1 year old, and the background is in Toyota's, in a way, rally team and their presence here in Jyväskylä. Toyota Gazoo Racing Virtual Team has its development center and actually car factory here in Jyväskylä. So the rally cars are made here in Jyväskylä. And some 2 years ago, they announced the plans to, in a way, enhance the operations further and establish a technology center here. And at that time, Akio Toyoda, the chairman of Toyota Motor Corporation, wanted to do also something good and be a good neighbor here in this region. So we are very happy about that development. Next slide, please. So we are focusing on hydrogen. Why hydrogen? We want to implement things at the rally speed, something concrete quickly. And hydrogen is a quite natural choice because of the background, the founders of our foundation, and many activities are ongoing around hydrogen in Europe and Finland, as you know. Next slide, please. This has been kind of our leading slide for 1 year now. So we are approaching or looking at hydrogen from 3 different viewpoints. Number one is the experience. So we want to offer experiences to everybody around hydrogen, and I'm talking about that today. Also innovation. So when more and more people are in a way get the idea about hydrogen, people start to innovate, and we want to accelerate and support that part as well. I have one slide about that. And these 2 developments then lead to this kind of ecosystem, and more people and companies start to work with each other. Next slide, please. Then regarding the experience, so I'm talking about 3 big events we have arranged, and then I'd also talk about hydrogen usage in public transport, which is the primary focus in this month, next month, and this summer for us. So we have arranged 3 events which we are very known about. One was the Green Hydrogen Power exhibition last autumn. Then we had arranged a hydrogen power and light event, just two evenings, but got a lot of attention. And just this month, we arranged a hydrogen cooking event in Helsinki. Next slide, please. So this Green Hydrogen Power was an exhibition 2 months last autumn, targeted to children and families. So it was an exhibition for kids to see, feel, play with hydrogen. And it attracted around 12,000 visitors. And there was, as you can see some of the photos, there was this kind of hydrogen molecules. There was a green, enthusiastic molecule and gray, ugly one, retired soon molecule, and all these kind of funny, crazy things. There was a radio-controlled Toyota Mirai hydrogen car. People were able to play with that, refuel that, and all that concrete things to do with their hands. And we also used the exhibition for many side events. Of course, there was an opening event, but then there was also, in a way, company networking events in the museum, in the exhibition space. So it kind of exposed more and more people to hydrogen. And it was actually part of the Aalto Team Museum. So anybody going to see Aalto architecture, they also saw the hydrogen in a way exhibition there. And it was done in a very funny, light way. And we are very happy about that. Next slide, please. Here you can see some photos about that. The text on the top right corner says, "What the heck is green hydrogen?" And it's a nice story about comparing the different colors of hydrogen. And the bottom left side, kids were able to build their own molecules and take photos of that. There were some of that was totally nonsense for researchers, but in a way still funny things. And at the bottom right picture, there was this kind of hydrogen rocket workshop. So people were able to produce hydrogen, as discussed earlier, or by one of the speakers, and then send the rocket to the sky, maybe 30 centimeters, but in a way, it made the noise and moved. And it was, wow, this was hydrogen. Next slide, please. Then this was the hydrogen power and light event at just 2 evenings at the end of September, one rainy evening, but no worries, because we had the hydrogen-powered pizza oven. So we offered and baked hydrogen pizza to everybody who came there and filled in a simple, funny questionnaire about hydrogen. So that was the pizza oven was the key thing there, but also we had there the hydrogen rocket workshop, we had the hydrogen quiz, we had Toyota Mirai on display. Hydrogen, this exhibition was next door, and of course the Dundu light artwork attracted people there as well. So we sponsored that Dundu there, and yeah, 2 evenings, maybe 30,000 people there. And here you can see the photo on the top right, top left corner. So thousands of people gathered in the square, and then pizza. And I can tell you, pizza cooked with hydrogen is really delicious. It's juicy. It isn't not dry, it just makes it special. And you can watch a video about the event. There's a YouTube link somehow visible there. So it's worth maybe viewing. The pizza oven was brought to Jyväskylä from the Paris Olympic Games because Toyota had it there for both the Olympics and Paralympics. And somebody got a good idea to bring it here, and we arranged that. Next slide, please. Hey, this happened this month, I think 2 or 3 weeks ago, at the Japanese embassy in Helsinki. There was a celebration for Japanese emperor's birthday celebration, and we had the hydrogen barbecue, combining Finnish and Japanese cuisine, made in chicken and vegetarian food with hydrogen. And this was, again, a kind of, in a way, worth noting that the exhibition was for, in a way, children and families. This was for this kind of high society people, so diplomats, ambassadors, politicians, policymakers, so they could taste hydrogen. And again, hydrogen in Finland, in Helsinki, what is this all about? Maybe I'm promoting that in my work later. So, and again, we are repeating there the strong points that, in a way, yes, choiciness and all that. So these are the 3 events we have arranged, and I can tell you that the hydrogen exhibition version 2 will be opened this month. Now still keeping the light, funny, in a way, tone of voice there, but now having then more people and more content there, also more serious stuff about hydrogen. So it will be opened. So please come to Jyväskylä and visit the exhibition starting mid-April. And we plan to arrange also similar events, like I can't tell you now what and when, but follow our in a way LinkedIn and all that. Some crazy things will follow this summer. Let's go to the public transport then. So this is much more in a way serious and takes more activities. So as you may know, we don't have a single hydrogen refueling station in this country at the moment. We don't have any hydrogen buses, and we have only, I think, 2 Mirai or 2 hydrogen passenger cars. So we plan to double, triple, 10 times more hydrogen passenger cars, hopefully this year in Jyväskylä, because we are accelerating the opening of the hydrogen refueling station here in Jyväskylä, and also maybe later in other parts of Finland with partners. And we are bringing here to create, the key thing for hydrogen refueling station is to create in a way, initial steady demand for the hydrogen. And how to do that? So for that purpose, we are bringing here 5 hydrogen buses from Caetano this summer. And they start operating in the normal routes in the autumn when the time is right. And let's see how they perform. It's a 2-year pilot. For sure, there will be ups and downs. And we are waiting for very tough winter conditions to see how they are performing there. And all parties are learning about the experience then. And if and when we have the hydrogen there, for sure we want to have here also some passenger cars from Toyota and also other manufacturers when possible, because then they are visible in the streets and people get again more excited and interested. Regarding hydrogen trucks, for sure, we've been promoting those a lot to logistics companies here. Many are interested, but the problem has been that they are not available to Finnish market yet. So maybe we can have here trucks from some manufacturers early next year or during next year at the latest. Next slide, please. So that was about the experience, and our thinking is that this kind of experience, doing many things, they lead to innovation. So people and companies start to innovate, and when that happens, we want to be there helping them via 3 in a way measures. One is pre-financing in the very beginning, then connecting the companies and people with each other, because we have now during this 1 year we have created quite a wide network in this region and even in Finland. And we are also happy to coordinate things and what makes sense and what to do next, and supporting them that how, especially in the early phase. And after that, hopefully then additional funding and contacts are available. Next slide, please. Yes. So we continue promoting hydrogen in different events. Funny events, crazy events, serious events this year, and happy to talk about those experiments then later, hopefully this year. Thank you.
Thank you, Esa. Yeah, we were almost organizing like a dinner among ourselves, drinking water from the hydrogen, yeah, from the exhaust of the hydrogen from Carol cars, and then your pizza. That sounds lovely. Thank you all for all your presentations, all very different but super interesting projects. So now I do want to open the floor. I'm gonna stop sharing my screen for a minute and to see if there are any questions, comments from everyone here. I see that we are a bunch of people here, so feel free to ask any questions or even share what you are doing as well. We would be interested to know that.
Yeah, in the chat, I note there's an advertisement of the Seed Village program, which definitely is worth having a look. So if you have a company, you know a company who might in a way benefit from this kind of sparring and networking, that's the program to join. I was curious about the Le Mans experience and hydrogen cars there. So hydrogen and motorsports are also in a way quite interesting combination. And let's see what we can do, because there's a big rally event here in Jyväskylä at the end of July and early August. So hopefully we can demonstrate some hydrogen things there.
See the event during the Olympic Games in France with Toyota. There is a barbecue too, the cargo bike, hydrogen cargo bike, and they can offer some ice cream because there are some fridge in the cargo bike, and there are also the pizza oven. We would like to use in Le Mans to offer croissant and not pizza. But I can tell you, because we have 300,000 people, it's difficult with the fireman to put the hydrogen oven in the middle of the track. But we try.
Carol, I wanted to also ask how many major car manufacturers have stated interest in competing at Le Mans as hydrogen cars?
Between 10 and 12 from America, Europe,
geez.
and Asia.
That's a lot.
Officially, we have Toyota, of course, Alpine from Renault, some Studai from BMW, but we are a working group since maybe 6 years, and they have meeting every month. And when we have our Mission Eng 24 on the track, because it's a not official car, it's our car. So we are the organizer of the 24 hours Le Mans. There is no sense to engage our car in Le Mans. So the goal with this car is when this car is on the track to run, for example, or to test, we will share all the information to the working group, to the manufacturer about hydrogen. Because we know we have a short time to welcome hydrogen prototype in motorsport. So each information we can share with the manufacturer, we do that. It's a new organization. It's the first time Automobile Club de l'Ouest does that. But
That's
we
great.
can feel a lot of interest for the manufacturer. The question now is the station. We don't have to do the same situation, or we don't to do yes, the same situation with electric car. You have electric car but no station, so we have to anticipate and to create the H2 station in the same time H2 car, because in France you can drive Toyota Mirai and Hyundai H2 already. In Paris we have a taxi company with maybe 100 taxi, H2 taxi in Paris. So people can see in the street H2 cars, but we need station. And it's the reason we collaborate and work with the European Commission for the H2 corridor for the H2 Valley to create a H2 station. And we have partner Total Energy, of course, and they create a mobile H2 station because for the World Championship, we have 8 races around the world. We can't ask to each track to build a H2 station because actually it's expensive. So we create a H2 mobile station. So we can use in Europe, but imagine when we have to go to Bahrain or to America by plane, it's difficult, hydrogen by plane. So we use some boat, but it takes time. So it's the situation with hydrogen now. A lot of interest, a lot of things to deploy hydrogen, but a lot of rules to create to facilitate the deployment of hydrogen.
I do have a question for Oleg. I was just thinking about the breakfast briefings. Well, I was thinking about all the presentations, and of course, when you are working with children or you have public demonstrations, like for example the hydrogen pizza, those are, I wouldn't say easier because they're definitely not easier at all, but I get a sense that, for example, for me at least, one of the most challenging things to do is the recruitment process for any event that we organize. So I'm wondering, like, for example, for the pizza, the hydrogen pizza, or the public demonstrations, or the race cars in Le Mans, well, I think it's a little bit more widespread, but in the case of the breakfast briefings, I think that it's a little bit more specific and more, you could say, more technical. So I do wonder, how have you approached the recruitment process, and do you have like a captive audience, or what do you do for each session? Because I see that you have delivered 18 sessions. So how does that recruitment process work? Do you contact the same people, or do you contact new ones depending on the topic? If you could talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, yes, sure. Indeed, as you said, it's really challenging sometimes to recruit appropriate people. So we start, for example, from our internal stakeholder network, our project partners, associated partners, and so on. And we are trying to choose people, normally experts in their field, who can bring interesting news about hydrogen, about technology, about all this kind of advancement, and of course, legislation and so on. So we start from our networks, and sometimes we have different speakers from outside. For example, we have had different companies like Toyota or Volvo, or some invitees from Drager, which is very active in hydrogen safety and all this kind of protection and detection of hydrogen faults and so on. And well, they are very interesting topics because they are new topics. We haven't heard anything before. And it's of course very interesting to have these kind of speakers in our briefings. But it's challenging, of course, to find speakers.
Yeah, for sure.
And we also switch between our project partners. So we are 8 project partners. On every project partner is responsible for another breakfast briefing. So we're from different countries. We know different experts. We know different experts who can give presentations. So every partner brings in their own experts in the best cases. But for example, I had struggled organizing people in December, so I switched with Oleg and did the one in February.
And for example, there are a lot of similar projects in the Baltic Sea region that we can connect, and we have invited so far, I think 3 or 4 at least of them to speak, because it's very important to share this kind of wide opinions on the topic. Like your project, HYPOP, is very interesting for us, because I think we have a lot of similarities between our projects, so we can use this kind of synergies between us.
Yes. Yes, I think that's exactly what happened for this webinar. So participants know that we were able to organize all of these speakers thanks to our networks. So yeah, it's always a good thing to have partners and to exploit the networks and the people that, well, not exploit, but yeah, use that as an advantage, of course. And I do have an extra questions to all of you, because of course, we have different projects and I see that we do different things. For example, Erika needs to create memes or videos or figure out how to do public demonstrations and then get the materials and find someone to explain that to the kids or to whatever target audience you have. I do wonder, and one thing that I see a lot is that when you work in communications, you are expected to know how to do everything. So graphic design, public engagement in general, and sometimes we don't know how to do everything. So if you could have an ideal team, what type of people would you like to have in your team? Like, would it make your life easier to have a graphic designer, a video editor, a communication specialist? What do you think makes like a good, perfect team for communications?
Can I comment on this? It was for me the question, right? Yeah.
It was for everyone, but yeah, taking you as an example, for sure.
Yes, so my experience actually, okay, it's quite limited in a sense that, okay, we are working at a university. So of course, in our team, we have different kind of people, like ranging from PhD students to researcher, full professor, and so on. So regarding the more like scientific part, of course, we can refer to the full professor. For the graphical and like video part, actually, we are exploiting a lot the PhD students or like young students, because they do know how to use social media, how to record a video, how to communicate fast. So we can learn from them really a lot from this point of view. And then, of course, maybe it's not like the best video or the best stuff you can produce, but it's a good starting point also to make like feeling the people close to you. Like you're just using the same, how to say, technology to produce some content that usually normal students also do, like on TikTok or whatever, you know. But of course, like for the HYPOP project, actually, we were paying extra service to produce the gift and also to build up the brochure and everything. So from a graphical point of view, I think it's really helpful to also ask for help or to pay some really dedicated expert for producing this kind of content. That's for sure.
Yeah. Thank you for that. I don't know if anyone else has any questions, comments, any thoughts as well before we wrap up today's webinar.
Hi, yes, I have a question open to all of the projects, and I was wondering if you found a particular group that it's more difficult to engage with in terms of resistance to change, to use hydrogen, or in general to reach as a group. Because being a part of the HYPOP project, we are working with different target groups, and we have identified some that we want to reach. So I don't know if anyone has a similar experience to this.
I told you, for Le Mans, we are lucky because we have a lot of type of audience. We have experts in motor racing and sometimes in hydrogen. We have media, expert or not, and we have the visitor, the spectator. So three different level of knowledge. Sometimes nothing, and sometimes no interest, or sometimes against hydrogen. So you have to be very clear and simple in your explanation, and sometimes you try to convince, but sometimes you have to listen the feedback of the people and understand the issue with hydrogen. For my side, I remember at the beginning of the program in 2018, we have a lot of bad question and bad welcome about hydrogen. And now, when we went or we go for various events, motorsport or not, we can feel people know much more and much better hydrogen because they read on newspaper or maybe they listen on TV. There is a lot of big plan from Europe or maybe from France with a lot of euro for hydrogen. So they ask, what is hydrogen? And when they can touch with hands hydrogen, it's easier after that to explain. And the goal is to say and to explain to the people, hydrogen is not the solution. It's not the dream for everybody, and we find the solution, and you can continue to consume or maybe to go as you want without thinking about energy. It's the context now. We are not in the same context than 60 years. We are a lot of the planet. And we would like to drive and to move around the world. But in the same time, we have to think about energy. And it's a common effort. Not only a request for automotive expert or engineer or scientific. It's a common effort from all the people. And after that, it's easy to think about, attitude of everybody.
Marcus, you raise your hand, right?
Yeah, on the same topic as, for example, we as a research institute, we've started to do a lot of online web tools because we do a lot of fancy simulations, and sometimes it's, especially for general public, it's hard to understand scientific results. And so what we did is that we, for example, have an open source community, and open source, in our opinion, means also that the access barrier has to be as low as possible. So we do a lot of simulation programs we have online available where you can put in your own data. And so we try to make it available for everyone, and then everyone can understand the results and see if I change this, then what happens, and why, for example, is hydrogen hard to use in specific fields, why it's there more expensive, why should we more use renewable energies and direct electrification. And this is what we are trying, and that works for us, but we are researchers, so we are not a communication department.
Thank you. Okay, so to make sure that we finish on time, I just want to quickly share the HYPOP project website so you can check out everything that we have there. And also, I pasted the link of the feedback survey in the chat. We will also send it to you via email, as we were talking about the importance of evaluating if something is working or not. We would like to know. Well, we would like to get your feedback on this webinar so we can improve the next one. And please go ahead and join our community. You will find all the relevant links on the website. And Valeria, I don't know if you want to quickly talk about the next event that we will be having.
Yeah, I will just quickly share my screen if I can.
There you go.
Okay,
I made you a co-host.
Yes, so now you should be able to see this is the save the date for our next event that will be on the 24th of April from same time, so from 1 to 2. There is an article about it on our website, and I will quickly paste the link in the chat. But in general, the next event will be focused more about the results of HYPOP and the best practices that we found during the awareness raising campaigns, and in general the implementation of our project. So So we will be very happy to see you there as well. The registration link is in the link that I will share now. So you will be able to register from now. But we will also share more on our channels. So as Daniela said, you can follow us on our social media now and on our website to receive more details about the agenda and what we will be talking about. That's it. I will let you leave now.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you for staying as long as right now. And thank you to all our speakers. Thank you for taking the time to join us today. I hope that you have a great rest of your day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.